Hello everybody, today I'm here to review X-Men 97. Now, this is a non-spoiler review for Season 2 of the show. You can watch my reviews for Season 1 early on the channel. For a bit of context, X-Men 97 Season 1 is one of my favorite seasons of TV of all time. I was so surprised by it. I watched the original animated series in prep for it, thought that was pretty fun, and then X-Men 97 came along and just blew my mind with how amazing it was. So I was excited for Season 2, to say the least. I was very, very excited. And in this non-spoiler review, I'm going to get into my thoughts of it. I'm going to break things down by kind of individual episode and my feeling, and then I'm going to talk about my feelings on the season as a whole. Without further ado, let's get into things. And to start, I enjoyed every single episode of this season. I want to say that very clearly. Episode 1 is a very strong start to the season, dealing with characters like Cyclops, Jean Grey, Storm, Wolverine, their connection with Nathan. It's a very strong start to the season that follows up on the cliffhanger from the first one. Great action, great visuals, great ties to the Apocalypse storyline. Really strong season premiere. Then it leads into episode 2, which is a little less engaging, but it's a very strong Jubilee and X-Force episode. Her dynamic with Cable is great. There's fun action sequences. I like the way it ties into X-Factor and kind of sets up a lot of the big beats of the season. This is a good episode. This is a strong one. Episode 3 is one that I'm a little more mixed on compared to other people. It's, some stuff with Rogue and Professor X and Magneto, Beast, Nightcrawler, and setting up kind of some Apocalypse stuff. And this one I thought was a little more dull because it's not very X-Men-y. It's a little more Egypt-y, and I just struggled to get into it. And a lot of the plot moved to this one, but it's not bad. But it's just it's one of my least favorite episodes of the show just because it's a lot slower. Episode 4, though, 10 out of 10, incredible conclusion to the stuff set up by Episode 3. Fantastic stuff, fantastic Magneto stuff, just some incredible X-Men entertainment. Episode 5, take a detour for a Wolverine and Morph episode. And this one is pretty fun, but it's definitely a little out of place given the place in the season. But it's engaging, there's some cool action. Episode 6, a lot of processing of the events of Episode 4. He introduced Polaris. It's a very strong episode. It's got a weird villain, but it's very enjoyable. Once again, great character action. Episode 7 is a great Nightcrawler and Colossus episode. And he's got some Rogue in there, a lot of great moral debating. It's very, very fun, very entertaining. And it's just one of those great episodes of the show where it's like you can really see the show's heart and kind of the lessons it's trying to teach shining through. Episode 8 and 9 I'm going to talk about together is kind of the two-part finale. And I think it's very, very strong. Got some great emotional character moments, especially regarding Rogue. Some really cool action, especially regarding Cable and Nightcrawler. And it's all very immense and exciting and cool in the way it kind of works things through with the Apocalypse storyline. It wraps things up pretty well. A little suddenly, but very well. So that's my review of all 9 episodes of the season. Overall, as I said, I enjoyed every single episode. Every week I would turn on the episode and I would have a good time. What I do want to talk about, though, is the season overall. And overall, I did enjoy the season. I enjoyed it quite a bit. But the thing is, with X-Men 97 Season 1, I feel as if that season's great because it's very entertaining on an episodic basis, but it also works great. It's very serialized. You have this great ongoing story that takes you from the beginning of episode 1 to the end of episode 10, and it just propels you through. It's very, very strong, immensely engaging. Everything kind of ties into that finale. Every single character gets their moments to shine. There's never a moment where it's like, dang, this character hasn't gotten anything to do for a few episodes, right? Like, every single character is just consistently getting stuff to do. And Season 1 is just, like, aside from, like, a little bit of diversion in Season 1 is just one of the most well-balanced seasons of TV I've ever watched. And Season 2 of X-Men 97, well, I think it works well episodically, and it still has all the trademarks you want from the show. Incredible action and voice acting and animation and music. I think it's one of the best-looking shows on TV in general right now, especially for animation. It's just gorgeous. And the individual episodes, like, I enjoyed. But I think the overall structure of the season was weaker than Season 1. You would go long stretches without seeing certain characters or certain characters having anything to do. It's a little more episodic in the sense of, like, oh, you do this, and you do this, and you did this, and it's kind of a little more all over the place. And then the finale, while engaging, I feel it could have been more drawn out, could have been longer. It's just very suddenly, like, with episode 8 and 9, it's like, okay, we have an hour to basically wrap up the whole plot of the season and include all the characters. And while I think it's still strong and engaging, it's just not as effective as Season 1 is. So this season is a thing for me. It's where I enjoyed it all the way through. I enjoyed it very much. I had a lot of fun. But compared to how good the serialization and balancing of Season 1 was, well, I think Season 2 was strong. I just don't think it was as strong. It needed an extra episode to help balance out the finale. It needed to be a little less all over the place with the characters. Need to balance things better. I think it was also hindered by having a 3-episode premiere and then one less episode compared to the first season. So last episode was spread out over the course of 9-10 weeks, and this is spread out over the course of 7 weeks. So it already feels like a shorter season in that sense too, where you're a third of the way done with the season on the first day of release. So I still think it's very strong. Don't get me wrong. I still love X-Men 97. I still think it's a great season of Marvel TV. Still better than most MCU shows out there. But it just has the issue of it just doesn't flow as well as season 1. It still flows well, but just not as well as season 1. So I'd give X-Men 97 season 2 an 8.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I love all the character stuff. Everything with characters like Rogue and Nightcrawler and Magneto and Wolverine, stuff like that. They all get great stuff to do. It's a really cool Apocalypse storyline. I just wish it had a little bit more time to breathe. I hope you guys like the video. Coming up next is probably going to be my review of either The End of Oak Street or My Adventures with Superman Season 3. So I hope you guys like the video, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye for now.